All right, we're on, everybody. Hi, everybody. This is Bill Crespo with Frank Clemens of Viral Marketing. I'm a business coach for Maps Coaching, and we're hopefully in the next couple of minutes, you'll have a great time with me. Hey, a couple of tips I want to give you before we start. First of all, Frank's with me because he does a lot of the things that I like to see a lot of my clients do more of, which is follow up on your leads that you have and follow up on some of your database people that you're nurturing over the course of some time. Viral Marketing does a great job on it. I have several of my clients right now using him, and my job is to help you find more clients. So Frank, hey, thanks for helping me
Thanks,
out
Bill.
here and keeping me on here. So like any time I speak, I like for you to take some notes. So if you get a piece of paper together, get a pen together, I want you to write down this date, July 14th to the 15th. That's in Virginia Beach, Virginia. I'm holding a power prospecting workshop. It's $395. This is my last commercial, so bear with me, guys. $395. You get on with me for 2 days. We're going to work on your prospecting skills. We're going to work on you as a presenter, and just really work on how well you do your prospecting over the phone. We're also going to help you with your presentation skills. And what's really cool about this is that this is the only workshop out in the field right now that you can make money at. Okay, right there at the prospecting workshop. So mark that down. So today we're going to go over, Frank, can I start and just go
Yeah,
right into it right
absolutely,
now?
man. The reason we're doing this whole hangout is that profitability and the foundation of all real estate sales is prospecting, and then marketing enhances it.
Right.
And when you make your 20, 30 contacts a day, how can you be more successful at it? And what are you doing on the phone to base that screws up you not getting the appointment?
Right.
And that's what I want to hear today. So we want to go over all the common prospecting mistakes that people make when they are prospecting that's hurting their ability to set appointments, specifically in real estate.
Yeah. And let me say that it was hard to just find 10. There's a whole bunch but let's take the top 10. And I'm going to go one by one with you, because the first one I wrote down, you don't have to prospect to find business. And what's really interesting that there are seminars, there's things going on around the country that are actually telling salespeople not to prospect. So I'm asking you, since the history of mankind, there's always been someone having to talk to someone. So be careful with social media. I love social media, but we do have to use what's between our two ears. So be careful of anything that says you don't have to prospect. You've got to do something.
Now,
You've got to be
what
able to.
does not even prospecting mean? Does that mean not making phone calls, not reaching out to new people? Like, how would you define prospecting?
I would say that prospecting for me is finding people that I don't know.
Talking to people you don't know.
Yeah, talking to people you don't know, finding those people through several sources. You can make the phone call. You could go ahead and actually, send information out. The most effective tool is going to be the phone. It's the least expensive tool that you can use today to be able to find new business. So prospecting is going to be a key. Now let's look at some of the things, Frank, that I found out that clients are doing that is actually causing them to get hang-ups. Number one, I would say, and I wrote down here in my notes, that they're sounding like a telemarketer. That you actually sound like a AM DJ. When I hear the scripts go, "Good morning, how are you?" That's the dead giveaway for you being a telemarketer. And usually what happens after that, you get a click or they just don't want to deal with you anymore. So you're working too hard. You want to sound as casual as possible when you're speaking to someone on the phone. So saying something like, "Hi, Mrs. Smith, not sure if you can help me." And let me just say one thing. I don't like using the person's name because we're not sure that Mrs. Smith does live there, right?
Or let them know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, then it could be Smythe. It could be Jones, and it spells like Smith.
Yeah.
I've had that. My name is Crespo. I get Creepo sometimes, which really makes me upset, but that's another story. So you got to be really careful on how you use the names. But I would say something like, "I'm not sure you can help me." What happens when you say, think about this, Frank, when you say, "Hey, hi, I'm not sure if you can help me," do you really hang up, or do you want to know what this person is saying?
I want to know what they're saying. So you go right into the phone call where it's like, "Hi, I'm not sure you can help me."
Right.
Then
and
what?
then we go into, let's say it's a listing, an expired listing. So, "Hi, I'm not sure if you can help me. I'm calling about the house for sale." Now we know.
Oh, you got my attention right away.
Do you see? Now let's do it the other way. "Hi, good morning, Mr. Smith." I mean, come on. That sounds like a salesman. And what happens? You get clicked. So the first 5 seconds of that conversation is crucial, and we want to be able to gain that influence with someone, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about influence. Here's the next one, Frank. I wrote down number 3. Using the person's name in the beginning of the script, as I said before, is not good. Number 4, I wrote down, not having a script. Now, not having a script and just winging it in today's market and prospecting over the phone is almost crazy. And I see a lot of people winging it over the phone with their clients. And you know what? You know what the client's job or the prospective, let's say, prospect has in their mind? They want to get you off track. That's their main focus. They don't know it, but they're taking you off track. And when you're off track, you have no real focus on the conversation.
Now, I just want to say this, is that the most effective scripts that I've seen is they're all questions. A script is a list of questions and not really nothing more than that. Is that the case with the scripts you recommend?
Yeah, they're questions, but let's look at the contents. If you go on a plane and the pilot decides not to use his pre-flight check, which is his script, you better get off the plane. And if you're not using a script, you're going to get off the call real quick. And the script is a series of questions. The question also is, how are you using the questions on the script? There are 3 elements to a script that you need to have. Should be written down right now. Number 1 is curiosity. Number 2 is urgency. And number 3 is doubt. Those are 3 elements that you should have in your script to create that atmosphere to move someone forward. So do you get that, Frank? So let's say I'm talking to someone. I have to make sure they're curious about what I have to offer.
Okay.
Right? They need to have doubt that my way of doing it may not work. I want to sell my house myself. Well, what he just said to me maybe
so self-doubt.
Self-doubt.
Okay.
Yes. And then urgency.
To act now.
Okay. So let's.
How do you create that in the script? What do you say in the script after you say, "I don't know if you can help me"?
Okay, so we can go down the whole line. Says, I'm not sure you can help me, but I'm calling about the house for sale. Is it still available? Okay, and then they'll say, well, yes, it is. No, it's not. Then I identify myself. Now, for those of you that are concerned about the legalities of it, I plan not to go to real estate jail by not identifying myself in the first 6 seconds. I think you can get away with 2 questions and then identify yourself. Right? So we go into the 3rd question, and then we go into, hi, this is Bill Crespo with Keller Williams. I was calling to find out, when do you plan on selling your house, or is it coming back on the market again? Now, I'm using very casual tones here, not really sounding like I really want it or I want to close the person over the phone. I'm just being curious, and then they're being curious, and they want to know, why am I calling?
And who are we calling here? Are we calling expired?
Let's say an expired listing. That's probably the easiest. That's probably one of the hardest calls. All the prospecting calls that agents have to make. The expired call seems to be the most difficult one for most people. So the expired call is a situation that we've got to be aware of the fact that these people are upset. They had a house listed before and it hasn't sold. The last thing we want to do is to cut them off without expressing their anxiety. And the mistake that we could also make in the beginning of a script is try to overcome the objection right off the bat. So one of my notes here is never to overcome an objection in the beginning of a script.
Give me an example of that. So what's the objection the most likely an expirer gives you right at the beginning of a call?
Let's just say, I'm going with the same agent. Okay? I hate real estate people. I'm decided to sell it myself. And we get suckered into actually going into that conversation with them. Never overcome an objection at the beginning of the script.
So how do you deflect it?
That's an option. That's your script. I want to sell it myself. Well, that's an option. I want to possibly go with the same agent that we had because he's a nice guy. Well, that's an option. And stay with your script. That's deflecting the objection, not actually addressing the objection. Do you understand the difference there?
Mm-hmm.
It's very important that we don't, because who's in control? They are if we answer their objection, plus we get suckered into a conversation and then they don't like us and then they hang up. So we got to be very careful with that. Now, if the objection comes back up again later on in the script, then we do a mild objection handler, and I'll go over that in just a second. But I want to stay up on the top a little bit, because in the first minute or so, we're going to lose the conversation here if we don't really understand what's happening with our scripting that's going on right now. So now we're at the point where I wrote down here is that Using an auto dial, let me just go back a second, and we're kind of getting a little bit off, Frank, but there's a lot of auto dialers going on now with prospecting, and you know that you can call 4 people at one time. So it's getting faster. And if you don't have an auto dialer right now, it's really, I think it's very critical that you do have some type of auto dialer. And that's, companies like Mojo, LandVoice, and a couple of these other ones that you need help with, because you need to.
You can literally make 1,000 phone calls in a day.
I mean, it's unbelievable what you can do that. Before, in the old days, Frank, and some of the people that know me that are online right now with me know that in the old days, the agents were doing 2 headsets, 2 phones, dialing with the left, dialing with the right, using 2 microphones. Like we had a bridge over our head and we had 2 different earpieces, and then 2 people will answer the phone at the same time, and we'll use 1 script. Okay, so it's a little bit crazy. My wife thought I was nuts.
But how do you manage that? I mean, if you're doing 4 calls at once, calling maybe around the neighborhood or calling all the expireds in there, you're going to be on the game when that person answers what you're saying.
Yes.
And you probably didn't have much time to even research the background of the person at all.
Well, there's, which you brought up. Let's go back. Let me hit that word research again, and also talk about multiple dialing. There are systems in place, and there's people that actually know how to use Mojo very well and some of these dialers, because there's a recording that goes on. If you're talking to someone and then someone picks up, a recording comes on like, "Hey, I'm sorry, we have a bad connection. I'll call you right back." That's a recording. So now you've actually hit someone that's home, and then you finish your conversation. Now you go back to that number.
That's if 2 people answer at the same time.
Well, that in a Mojo system.
Yeah.
In the old days, if 2 people did that, we would use 1 script, and it was crazy. It was nuts. Now, the other thing I want to mention on research, they go, "Well, Bill, I don't want to call them if they're listed with a agent already." Here's your research. Give them a call. You ask them the question. They say they're relisted. There's your research. That's done. You're spending way too much time researching these properties. You're not going to go to jail if you call someone that's already listed with someone. All you got to do is say, "Great," and hang up. That's it. And you're done. I have clients that said they were researching for 2 hours. And remember, lead generation time is not research time. You should be ready to lead generate and prospect when you come up to that high-level desk in your office. You're ready to go. You can't be doing research, or else your law of averages, your numbers will be down a lot. Which I also want to mention that you got to stand up. You have to stand up when you're prospecting. So next question is why?
Why is that?
Okay, good question. So the reason why is because you have more energy. Right now I'm standing up. If I was sitting down on this little stool that I got in front of me and I'm going, I'm really excited to be here, guys. You could even see my eyes change. Everything changes in my body.
Bill, what I'm going to do is I got a stand-up desk.
Get your butt. Yeah, are you standing up, Frank?
My desk is raising up. Give me a second.
Okay, let's stand up. Everybody, stand up.
How's that?
Okay, there you go.
There you go. Now, how's that, Bill? Is there more energy when I talk when I'm standing up?
Listen, everybody saw more energy out of Frank when he stood up, man. I'm looking at you right now. So you got to stand up. While your hands get waving, you walk around. You got more emotion. You see, the telephone takes away the sound of your energy. And I love it. God bless the analyticals that are out there right now. This is them talking. I'm very excited about listing your home, so I can't wait to come over and see you. Now watch. On the phone, it even sounds worse. So the analyticals, you got to bring it up. The expressives, you got to bring it down, because, man, you're blowing out the phone. Some of you people just have to understand that you've got to bring it up. And one thing I highly suggest, and I'm doing with all my clients right now, most of them are sending me recordings of their calls. You listen to the call first and ask yourself 3 questions on that call. I want you to record your calls, listen to them, and ask yourself, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? And what do I need to improve on? And just start to evaluate this. We're noticing there's a lot of upswings in your voice. If you're going, gosh, is the home coming back on the market? Boy, that doesn't sound real authoritative, does it? Downswings are very important in your voice. The subconscious mind wants to pick up the tonality of your voice and determine whether or not they want to continue the conversation. So your upswings are causing you to have low influence with the person, low authority with the person, and that's why we can't move the conversation forward. Does that make sense, Frank?
It makes complete sense. Question I have. I'm just curious of all the prospecting you've set in on, how much of it is script versus just the presence of the person on the other end of the phone? Like, can someone with a strong presence get through with a horrible script and still get the appointment?
You know what?
Or have you seen a script so strong followed exactly with someone who maybe has no authority on the phone win the deal?
That's a great question. I think that, first of all, enthusiasm rocks. So in some cases, you have so much enthusiasm that people go, I got to meet this person. But you really need to have that tonality right, and that everything has to really come out in your voice. And years ago, when I was doing voiceover work and stuff like that, I really realized that your bandwidth has to be wide. You can't have a narrow bandwidth. In other words, when you're talking to someone, it has to go up and down, because that shows that excitement. Plus, the subconscious mind, in the back of their mind, they're going, you know what, I like this person, I'm not really sure, let's let him in.
Well, really, it just sounds like you're passionate. You got to have the passion when you talk on the phone with someone, and that's an inflection of your voice.
Yeah. There you go, man. You're getting it. So what happens is that you've got to have that enthusiasm. But then again, watch. If you over rapport, there's the problem. So all of a sudden, you become their best friend in a half a second over the phone, and now you lost the influence on them. Right? So just think about it. If you're going to a doctor's office and the guy has a lot of rapport with you, you're going to get a little nervous and you want to run out of that daggone office. So you got to make sure that there's enough a sounding of expertise in your voice for them to want to talk to you. Because the last agent, let's say in an expired situation, gave them a story, it didn't work. And here's, I want to leave, make sure that we got plenty of time, but I want to make sure that I give you some scripts. One of them is, doesn't it make sense to check out all your options? Instead of closing them on why you're so great and why your company is so great, just a logical question, Mr. Seller, doesn't it make sense to check out all your options? And let him answer. He goes, yeah, that's one of the reasons why I think it's important for us to get together, and then give them alternate choice. You don't have to overcome the objection. The purpose of the phone is to get the appointment. Right, Frank? I mean, that's all it is. Because, and from your background too, you guys, before you got into viral, you were telling me years ago about, what you did, and it was really setting the appointment and bringing the people in.
Yes.
And then and then you sell them later.
And it was purely on passion, because I was so young and had no idea what I was doing. But just the passion of being able to, I might want to meet with this person.
Right.
Would get the appointment for me. If I only had this type of training or script training, my life would have been a lot easier.
Oh yeah. Now, it's amazing what little things you have to change. Standing up. Let me go with my notes here. Number 7, I wrote down, not having your numbers ready when you're prospecting. Back to kind of doing research. The night before or that morning, you should have everything ready. Like I've got I can't bring it up, but I've got a high desk, I've got my monitor here, I've got my notes right here, and I'm standing up. Everything's up high. And I've been doing this standing for probably 15 years. I don't even know how to sit down on the phone, because I have to exert a certain level of energy, and to know that people have seen me speak in front of them, I'm moving around.
So you want all your stuff prepared when you get into work. I mean, so do you have someone, or do you recommend someone doing the research? So like when you show up at your desk, all the numbers are there and all the printouts of the MLS sheets are there, and because I could see someone coming into work and spending 2 hours doing research and don't start calling until 10 in the morning. Yeah.
I mean, either you got to do it the night before, or you get in the office very early to do it, or you have someone get it, having everything prepared. Not everybody has the luxury of having an assistant to do this. So either way, when that bell rings at 9 o'clock, in most cases, if that's when you want to start, you are ready to just focus on making calls. Let the phone only ring 3 times. If you don't have a dialer, you let the phone ring 3 times and then go to your next call. Because if you go to the 4th ring, Frank, what typically happens when you allow the phone to ring to the 4th ring, do you think?
Goes to voicemail.
Right. And then we're listening to the top 40 hits. Nowadays, now you just lost seconds and seconds of time. The average person makes about 5 contacts an hour.
How many dials is that?
Okay, great. I don't track dials. I don't want anybody to track dials. Dials is the wrong thing to be tracking, because guess what? You're going to be at 10 of 2. I love these people go, Bill, I talked to 3 people, but I dialed 200 people. This is what I tell them. They know this. I don't care about your dials. I only want to know about the people you've contacted and talked to live, because our mind focuses on what we actually focus on. So what I'd like to see happening is that you make 5 contacts per hour minimally. Minimal 5 contacts per hour. And then from there we can go up to 8, and then we go up to 10. 10 to 11 is probably high efficiency. 5 is average. Below 5, you got to bring it up. You got to bring it up.
What's the order if I were to come in and prospect? what would be the order of the people you'd say you call? So let's say I'm going to call from 8:30 to noon or 8:30 to 11 or whatever.
Yeah.
Where would I start? I'd start with these. Who would be the people? What would be audiences I would be calling throughout that time? In order.
That's a good question. I know that people sometimes have a tough time starting out prospecting in the day, so call the person that's going to give you a very positive response first. It's really good to start off and warm up with a past client or someone that a year ago you did business with that's really nice, and then you go into the hard stuff. That's a good way of starting off. Some people do go right into the expireds. I just went right into it. It's up to you. The thing is that lead generation and lead follow-up are two different activities. They're not combined. If you want to do 2 hours of lead follow-up, 2 hours of lead generation, you want to separate lead follow-up at a different time. Okay, because lead generation is new people. Lead follow-up are people that are in the pipeline that you're trying to set an appointment with. And if you combine them, it really affects your numbers. Make sense?
Makes complete sense.
Okay, good. So let me go to my next one.
What number is this?
This is whatever. I've lost track. This is 8 or 9, whatever. Just keep taking notes. So number 9, not tracking your numbers. Not tracking your numbers could be a challenge because what we want to know is what's your efficiency numbers? How many contacts does it take to have an appointment? How many appointments does it take to have a contract? And how many contacts does it take to earn $1 or $5,000 in real estate? So you need to really understand your numbers. But the beauty of that is that next month we could predict your income. This business of real estate is challenging because we don't really know what our income is 30, 60 days from now. But if you knew that, let's just say, Frank, 500 contacts could give you 4 listings. Every month, you just do 500 contacts, and sometimes you get better. I've got clients that call 1 hour and get 1 appointment every hour. So, but do you know your efficiency numbers? Do you know that you can do that? That gives you the confidence every month to make those calls.
Mm-hmm.
You see, when you know your numbers. When you don't track your numbers, you really don't know. And they told us that the number of contacts you need to make a day is the number of closings you want in a year.
Do you have a contact tracking sheet by chance laying in your office you can show us?
I got a bunch of junk here. Yeah, I don't have it right now readily available.
I've seen it before. It's basically you have a sheet of paper, and every time you make a dial, maybe you put an X through it or not, according to what you say. But
actually, I do have it.
Yeah, so you have the dials, and you have the contacts, and you have the leads generated, and then every day, you take a picture of that sheet and you fax it to your coach. Yeah, let's take a look.
There you go. Okay, so do you see that?
And hold up a little bit longer. There we go.
All right. So there is your tracking. Now, what's interesting on the bottom, it says, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? And what do I need to improve on? So in the beginning of the tracker, it reminds you to do certain things. Role play is the other thing that we need to talk about. And on the bottom of it, you're reviewing how you did. Just imagine if you did this every day. If you actually set your goal for the number of contacts you want, set your goal for the number of appointments you want, and then you evaluate yourself at the end of your calling to see how you did and what you got to improve on. I'm seeing tremendous growth in my clients that are recording their calls, role-playing every day, and that's another number here that I put down, is that you need to role-play at least 3 times a day, 3 times a week. You guys will go crazy 3 times a day. Role-play 3 times a week minimum.
Now, I want to jump in really quick. Everyone, I just happened to see the questions you've been asking here on the right. I'm going to let Bill kind of go through his top tips. We're about 30 minutes in. That would be about 10 or so minutes, Bill. We have a lot of questions that are very specific to, like, they want to hear the scripts, maybe role play some scripts, show the scripts.
Okay.
But I'll let you keep going on your tips. I just want everyone to know that I got your questions, and we'll answer those here in a bit.
You know what? How much time do we have, Frank?
We got about 35 more minutes, man.
Oh, we're going for an hour? Okay, good.
I think we can do a full hour.
So I guess I should tell my client that's expecting me to call that we're doing this. But that's okay. I thought it was going to be 30 minutes, but we have plenty of material, so don't even have to worry about that. I just have to apologize now to her. So here we go. The last one that we have is make sure that you role play with someone at your level or above. A lot of times we're role playing with friends in our office, and then we're role playing with people that are lower in our skills, and that doesn't really work well. We want to raise your level up. We want to go to the next level. And so you get a little intimidated by going with someone really, really well. So I want you to work with those people that are better than you or with your level of desire and passion for the business and moving forward. So that's really what I think is really important for them to get to their next level. Recording, role playing, tracking your numbers, right? And if you really want to take it to the next level, Frank, start writing out your scripts at least 3 to 5 times a day, and you'll get really good.
Now, Bill, I don't want you to miss your next phone call. All right.
That's okay.
So we have about almost 100 people that were watching this live here right now. So
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are really getting some great information.
Right.
Let's leave right now. We have 5 minutes left. Top question here. What would be your script for calling old expireds like 2 to 3 years back?
Well, I tell you, we actually designed a script for that out of the new script, and I think you don't want to change that much your script. You know, hi, I'm calling about the house that was on the market last year. Is this the owner? Simple question. I'm not sure you can help me. Okay, remember that word, that little phrase, I'm not sure you can help me, gets them to stay a little bit longer on the conversation. You know, there's not a magic to it, but it makes people curious, and they want to prove you wrong, so they want to help you. So by having that phrase into the script, in any of the scripts, I believe, it's going to hold that person on the phone a little bit longer and let them start talking with you. And then you go in, is the home coming back on the market? Yes or no? And then you find out, no, it's not, or yes, it is. Was it rented out? And just go through a series of normal questions. The one thing, Frank, that is important, that in between the questions, you don't sound like an interrogator, like you're in a police interrogating. Where were you on the night of? And sometimes we sound that way, especially if we don't have bandwidth in our voice. So you want to use bridge words, like, ideally, when's the home coming back on the market? Out of curiosity, what do you think stopped the home from selling? And those are little bridge phrases in between each question that make you sound more conversational. Because a lot of times we're going blitz, blitz, blitz with questions, and they go, I don't want to talk to this guy anymore, hang up. One other thing that I see happening, Frank, too, when you're setting the appointment, and you go, and the person wants to meet with you, and they go, well, gosh, how's Friday at 3? And they go, no, I can't make it. How about Thursday at 2? No, I can't make it. How about next week? I tell you what, why don't you just call me next week? That's a huge mistake. Give them choices right off the bat. So if they say, you know, let me ask you this, how's Thursday at 3, or is Friday better for you? And they go, well, Friday. Afternoon or evening? Well, evening would be great. 5 or 7 o'clock. You see what I'm saying? We go wide and then we narrow it down. A lot of times we go, do you have 6 o'clock available on Friday? No, I don't. How about Saturday at 12? No, I don't. And then they get frustrated and then they hang up. So we want to be able to give them a choice. Make the client feel that they're in control. But who's really in control is you.
This is good, man. Well, we got about 2 more minutes here, and we're going to hold, Bill, we're going to hold on to one of these. I mean, I think there's so much knowledge that you can share with all of us that it would be a disservice not to do a few more of these.
I'd love to.
Leading up to your prospecting workshop, which you get the live, you know, you work with Bill live, and you're having one in Virginia Beach. The information's here on the Google Hangout, where you can go there and you actually listen with them and work with them for 2 straight days to improve the prospecting. We're going to take 2 more quick questions. Where can someone get that picture you hold it up of where they write their contacts and attempts and
I'll be
on?
more than happy to send it to anybody. If they just email to me at billcrespo@verizon.net, I'll be more than happy to send you that tracking sheet. Not a problem at all.
Good. And how would someone find a role play partner that's better than them so they can practice these scripts?
I believe that someone who's in coaching is looking to take their business to the next level. So in MAPS coaching, if you are familiar with MAPS, if you're with another company, I would go with someone who's focusing on scripts and that's in some level of coaching, because you know that they're committed to grow. The last thing you want is someone to socialize with you over the phone and gripe about how business is terrible for them, and boy, that's real motivating. So we want to go with someone who's hard charging. Now, the trick is you're talking 15 minutes, and then they're doing 15 minutes. It's a 30-minute role play. You don't want to be there forever. And you ask the person, again, what did I do right, what did I do wrong, and what do I need to improve on? Let them go, and then reverse happens to them.
Let's do the next topic, next hangout, Bill, on nothing but scripts.
We can do that.
Let's actually pull up just the scripts for expireds, old expireds, just listed, just sold, FSBO, and we can have maybe the copies of all the scripts that we sent up beforehand.
Yep.
And I want to hear your interpretation of how you apply those scripts. I think everyone would really enjoy that.
Yeah, and I'm sorry for the confusion, Frank, on the length of time here, but
no worries, man. Well, here is the deal, everyone. So we only have 30 minutes here for today, apparently, Bill. No worries at all. I don't want him to miss his next call with his next client. We're going to schedule next one coming up in a week or two. We'll go over nothing more than scripts. Bill is available. I'd like you to check out his power prospecting workshop in Virginia Beach. I've heard nothing but great things about that. And as far as survival marketing is concerned, we help you create educational video tips to stay in touch with all the people in your database. So when you do make your contacts, not everyone's actually interested in buying or selling a house. Get their email address, and we can show you how to nurture those people to achieve expert positioning and track who's clicking the links in your email so you can prioritize follow-up. That's what we do here at Viral. So everyone, I want to thank everyone very much for attending. You'll get the notification of the event coming up here probably in a week or two. And anything you'd like to say, Bill?
No, listen, thank you so much. And email me, guys, any questions you have, billcrespo@verizon.net. Go to either my site, or if you're in MAPS Coaching, go to MAPS Coaching site to look for how to register for the workshop. We're going to have a small group there. This is not a big class. There's only going to be less than 50 people there, so that I can spend time with each one of you one-on-one. So thanks a lot, Frank. Thank you so much for letting me have this opportunity, and I look forward to getting back on here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, we'll do another one on scripting. This will be very good. Thanks, everybody.
Great. All righty. Thanks. Bye-bye.